Hello, it's Mrs. Tung here. The Year 7, we're looking at our Mexican themed food, and today we're going to be making bean burgers. So beans are a staple crop in Mexico, so we will be using those to make a vegetarian healthy dish. It's a really easy recipe. This is what I've got on the tray, and this is a list if you need to rewind the video at any point. It's also on the PowerPoint that goes with this lesson. So for bean burgers you need 1 tin of beans. I've put not baked beans, but if you are going to use baked beans you need to make sure you've rinsed off all of the sauce. Okay, but the sauce does use up most of the volume of the tin, so you might need 2 tins of beans. You can use chickpeas. I think chickpeas are the ones listed in the PowerPoint, but any beans will do. If you're using dried beans you need to soak them and pre-cook them following the instructions on the packet. You're going to need 1 whole egg, 2 tablespoons of some sort of breadcrumbs, either the dried ones or get any sort of bread at home, whiz it up so you get some crumbly breadcrumbs, 1 tablespoon of oil, half a tablespoon of salt, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of spices, herbs or seasonings, anything that you've got at home, any of your favourite flavourings. So I've got those ingredients on here. So I've got kidney beans just out of a tin and they've been drained and they're ready to go. So I'm going to get my bowl ready. And the first thing you are going to need to do is to mash up your beans or your chickpeas into a paste. You can either use a food processor, you could use a fork. Fork works pretty well. I've got a potato masher here. So we're just going to crush them up a little bit just to break up the texture. And once they're mixed into a paste, you can start to add your other ingredients. Make sure you've washed your hands obviously beforehand, you've taken off any jewellery, any watches, because you are going to be using your hands to form the burger patties. So hopefully you've done your bean research from last week and you found out that beans are an excellent source of protein. They've actually got more protein in than red meat, but they're even better because they've got loads more micronutrients, lots of different vitamins and minerals, and they're a really good source of fibre. They also don't have very much fat in, and certainly they haven't got any of the unhealthy saturated fats that we're looking to try and cut down from our diet. And looking at the Eat Well guide from a few lessons ago, really reducing the amount of unhealthy fats, increasing the amount of fibre and nutrients. Right, so that has been mashed up. It's not completely smooth. Okay, if you like your burgers to be smooth so you can't tell the texture of the beans, that's fine. But if you want them a bit textured and grainy, I prefer mine like that. Leave them a little bit whole, crushed. I'm going to add all the rest of my ingredients. So I'm going to put my egg in, my breadcrumbs, my salt. I'm going to add my oil at this stage. We're going to bake our bean burgers, we're not going to fry them. So we're going to add our oil into the mixture. And I'm going to add some extra spices. So I've got some curry powder here. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of that. And I'm also going to add, I really love coriander. You could add chili flakes to it. Any sorts of flavourings that you like at home that you've got in the kitchen cupboards. Okay, so I'm going to just use a fork or a spoon to bring that together. Now this was quite a large egg, so it's looking quite wet. If that does happen, what you can do is add a little bit more breadcrumbs, something just to dry up the mixture a little bit. And it also bulks out the mixture too. Okay, that's still a little bit wet, It's going to be a little bit tricky to try and form into a patty shape for a burger shape. I'm going to put a little bit more in, a little bit at a time. You can't take it out once you've added it, so only add a little bit at a time. You might not need it. Make sure that your tin of beans, whichever you're using, is good, had all the liquid completely drained out of it. Right, so that's our complete mixture. Okay, now the egg in there is going to help bind it and hold it together once it's cooked. You need to make sure you have preheated your oven to 180 degrees and you've got a baking tray ready. So I have got my baking tray ready here and I'm going to form 4 burger shapes. So you are going to need to use your hands. Like I said, make sure that they've been washed first. I would, if I were you, divide your mixture into half, just like you did with the tortillas, and divide them into half again. These will take about 20 minutes to cook in 180 degrees. I would definitely make sure you put something on your baking tray because they will stick unless you want to grease your tray, but we are trying to make these really healthy. Whoops. I was trying to show you how to form them, but it's rather difficult with the visualizer here. So just roll them round in your hands. Try not to handle them too much. Okay, once they're nice and round, you can squash them down once you've got all of your burgers made. And you need to think about what sorts of toppings you could have in your burger. So you're going to put these in a burger bun. Are you going to have salad? Are you going to make a salsa with these? Are you going to put any cheese with it? If we're thinking about healthy food, what sorts of options are there? Are you going to maybe think about low-fat cheese, reduced sugar type of ketchup, if you're going to have any sauces, anything like that? If you were making this for somebody who had different allergies, who was maybe gluten intolerant, anything like that, would you maybe have to change the flour that you had for your burger bun? Okay, if somebody was allergic to egg, would you maybe try and swap out the egg? If you're using chickpeas for your recipe, that might be okay because there is in the liquid of the chickpeas quite a useful binding agent that behaves a little bit like the egg, so you might be able to get away without using any egg. Right, those are my bean burgers ready to go. Like I said, if you don't want to be able to identify them as being bean burgers, you can mash up your beans so that they are a lot smoother. What I'm going to do is try and show you the oven. Make sure that you've got supervised as well. So we've got the oven there and it should be set to 180 degrees there, you can see at the top. Okay, and I'm going to use this top oven here. So I'm not going to use my oven gloves just yet because the tray is not hot, it's not been in the oven yet. Pop it in and you'll see them again in 20 minutes time. So quick recap of the ingredients, what you will need. But it's very, very flexible. That's basically the rough ratio of things that you need to put into your mixture. Have a go. I look forward to seeing your practicals. Some of you have done absolutely fantastic jobs already on the cooking, so I'm really, really happy that you've been able to do that at home. If you're really stuck and you haven't got anybody to help you at home, the alternative task is to write up the recipe, use the information on the PowerPoint to help you as well. To get a higher grade, make sure you include information about the like healthy alternative ingredients, why it's useful to use beans and not meat. If you were making this for somebody who was gluten intolerant or had allergies to different things like eggs, put that sort of information in there for a higher grade as well. But have a go, however it turns out, photograph it and upload it, and I look forward to seeing what you've got up to. Have a go. Good luck, Year 7.